On this episode of DC On Screen, we are getting into Batfleck no more. We're talking about some Birds of Prey, some Shazam, Titans, a whole bunch of stuff right after this.
Are you struggling to conceive? You have options, and at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group, we'll make sure you have the guidance and support you need. PREG is known for individualized fertility care that's unique to every patient. We take the time to provide a reassuring and empowering experience because we believe that you deserve nothing less. Let us help you on your journey to parenthood. Visit us at pregonline.com to learn more. Get the guidance and support you need at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group.
You think of Earth as a singular planet. In fact, it is anything but. For this is a story not of a universe, but a multiverse, where universes and planets, such as Earth, were replicated and mirrored across a vibrating, infinite plane. Some barely different from the next. Others drastically so.
This is DC On Screen. Every week, Dave and Jason talk about the multiverse of DC properties on film and television. But be warned, if it's been officially released, you can expect they'll spoil it.
Welcome into DC On Screen, episode 527. I'm your host, David C. Robertson. Mr. Dave, if you're nasty. or my old pastor.
You did not like that.
My old pastor did call me Mr. Dave. It was real weird.
You really didn't like that. It was weird.
He still does.
Oh.
It's actually Matt's dad.
Oh.
Matt from Star Trek Universe Podcast.
That's weird. I forgot
MCU
about that
cast.
part.
Yeah.
That's odd.
And this, the man who once gently took me aside and explained that guys who claimed they'd trade their left nut weren't referring to the last peanut left in the planter's jar. Jason Goss.
Hi.
It's rough getting to that last nut, man.
Well, and you thought there had to be just two, so you'd carefully eat them.
I mean, either way, you got to be like an archaeologist. You got to sift through all that nut dust. Yeah, you got to sift through the nut dust to find that left nut.
You really tried to make it through that sentence.
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
I tried.
It's good try.
It was hard.
Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna let you do this.
What?
I'm gonna stand here, erect in my position that you should not be doing this.
Oh, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, before we start, a couple of weeks ago, we put out an episode called DCEU MCU Dollars versus Rotten Tomatoes. It was episode 525, if you're interested. Jason did a phenomenal job with some number crunching.
Thank you.
Exposed some of the... You're welcome. It's absolutely deserved. You exposed a lot of the real honest-to-God bias against the DCEU with Rotten Tomatoes. We got a lot of really positive feedback. Yeah. And we got some new listeners, thanks in no small part to Brent and Ray over at Fans Without Borders on the Suicide Squadcast Network. They gave us very strong recommendations. They said very kind things. Brent specifically said that we crack him up every episode, and honestly, that means so much more to me than your silly numbers, Jason. You just sit over there, crunch your numbers, Poindexter.
We're weak in this way.
Oh, yeah, but... thank you guys so much. I couldn't recommend their shows more. They also do DCTV Squadcast. And for anyone who misses the old days when we used to review all of the individual DC Universe episodes that were released, I implore you to go give them a listen because they do that very thing. Mm-hmm. I'll put a link in the show notes. They put out great shows. They have fantastic listener interaction. They're always very accessible and willing to converse on Twitter. It's always a pleasure. And I feel kind of bad, but I really like seeing Ray kind of take people apart on Twitter. It's a lot of fun.
Well, yeah. I often, a lot of the time watching him do it though, I always think like, all right, he's accurate, but I want to like drop mail him some Xanax.
What's really fun is when Brent and Ray disagree with each other because I'm like, both of you have equally valid points, and I enjoy both of your arguments.
Right. And
so I'm like, get him, Ray.
All right, when I say I want to send him Xanax, I don't think it's not like I think he's overreacting. I think he's usually right there with how I feel about it. I just feel like he's it's for his health. It's not because no disagreement with the argument. It's for his own health. I just want him to.
Oh, I get it, man. I get it. Like
I worry for him sometimes. Like
hey, you know what?
How do you fight the trolls so relentlessly?
See, I admire that about Ray because, like, I will see the trolls and just be like, ugh, I want to like have like so many things I want to say, and then I'm just like, I've got to X out of Twitter right now. I got to get out of it.
Yeah, I can get in there for, I don't know, 30 minutes maybe. Like legit be in it for about maybe 30 minutes, and then after about 30 minutes, my brain goes, and I'm out. I don't know what it is.
Right.
There's some little trigger in the back of my head that says like, yeah, what are you doing right now? Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna win this argument, am I? No. All right, I'm out.
In a lot of ways, I feel like Ray is Ben Affleck running into the smoke in BVS.
And I do admire that.
I am the little girl pointing at the empty building where my mommy used to be.
That is pretty apt.
I'm like, I don't have the energy. Help.
That is apt. A lot of times during those arguments, I feel like Jack, the guy that was running the office that crumbles with the building.
Like, why are you even here today?
Like, what were you still doing in that building?
Which goes back to like one of my old Man of Steel criticisms. Like, why were people at work? There's an alien invasion. People call out for snow.
I know. That's a whole thing.
Anyway. Yeah.
It was a valid point. I get it.
So, yeah. Go listen to those guys. I'll put a link in the description. So the Batman, we've got confirmation. It looks like we've got confirmation pretty clearly that Ben Affleck is not gonna be Batman in Matt Reeves' solo film.
Right. We got this weird quasi confirmation that I kind of resent.
Yeah, Warner Brothers is dating the next Batman for June 25th, 2021. We've been hearing
real,
for
apparently.
Yeah. So Deadline reported, or I can't remember if it was Deadline or the Hollywood Reporter. They both did.
Oh, it was Deadline reporting that their sources had said that the Hollywood Reporter's sources had said.
Okay, that clears that up.
Yeah, exactly.
So the article says that Ben Affleck is passing on the torch to a new generation. Ben Affleck tweeted that article, which would very much seem to be confirmation that they were accurate in their reporting. And it says, excited for the Batman in summer 2021 and to see Matt Reeves' vision come to life. Now, I've seen a lot of doom and gloom over Ben's departure. And as I did on Twitter, I'm going to point out a few things here. One, guys, we have known for a long time that this was a very, very real possibility. We've been hearing that Reeves wanted a younger actor, that he wanted Batman in his prime. There were even rumors that Affleck might do bookend segments, remembering the story. But we were certain, by all counts, that Affleck was not returning for the bulk of the movie at the very least. We knew there was going to be a recasting. And Ben tweets this article saying that he's not in this iteration of the Batman. He doesn't specifically say, I will never be Batman again. He is a very busy guy. He's got a lot of stuff going on. I think the reason he didn't come out and specifically say, I am not Batman anymore, is I think Ben and WB are keeping their options open for a possible post-Justice League appearance while showing active support for Reeves' Batman film, which
seems like a reasonable explanation of what we saw. Yeah,
which is that new Batman film that Reeves is making is assuredly about to begin announcing their cast. Like, I fully believe Reeves has a Batman in place already. Like, people have to start training and shit, man. The Scuttlebutt says this thing is going into production in November. Yeah. So, I think this has been being supportive because we very well may get casting news any time now. And this is Warner Brothers, so who knows when that shit's going to leak before Warner Brothers gets to put it out.
Yeah.
But, I also think it's good for Ben to show that he's not being ousted. Because I think this is a timing thing for Ben to some degree. And I also think he's had a rough few years. He's gotten divorced. He's gone through rehab.
Yeah, a couple times.
And people being major dicks to him about being Batman.
That was something I only half jokingly mentioned, that it wouldn't be surprising if this was him, like, middle fingering the toxic ass DC fandom one last time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, I'm out, but it's this weird retweet of an article that's, it was such a, I kept saying on Twitter, look, this looks a whole hell of a lot like a duck, and I can hear quacking. I just would appreciate if somebody with an official title would say, "Hey, duck, that's a duck over there."
But here's the thing, though: if he doesn't say duck, if no one calls duck, and then like suddenly it's announced like that he's in Birds of Prey or something at Comic-Con comes out,
we've still got
another
another Suicide Squad coming. Like, there's plenty of opportunities to throw him in there, and yeah, the only thing I was I'm resentful about. It's not Ben's fault. I think this is the best way for Ben to announce it, and I think the fact that it's Ben saying something is probably maybe the best of the scenarios. The only thing I resent about it is we've been doing this dance for 2 years.
I know,
and we're just going to keep dancing, I guess.
Yeah. Look, I hold out a little hope that we might see Ben again. Ben Affleck was my favorite Batman.
Hey, great
on
live action Batman.
Live action Batman, yeah. Everyone who listens to this show, I understand we have new listeners at this point. So be aware, Kevin Conroy is and always will be my favorite Batman. Sure. I don't know how to not. He wasn't even my first. Michael Keaton was my first. Doesn't matter. Kevin Conroy usurped that shit.
Yeah, he's the voice in your head. That's fine.
He's the voice in my head. But if Ben is not coming back, this doesn't mean the end of the DCEU. I say, the question has arisen, must there be a Superman? Well, I say, must there be a Batman? Or rather, must there be an actor to play him? Because if he doesn't come back, the mainstream audience doesn't care. It's us. We're the ones who care.
Right.
But I honestly do not believe you have to have a known actor to play Batman.
No.
Like, we can have Matt Reeves do his flashback character piece with an actual actor that we know. But post JLA, or Justice League, JLA, I got him old. Post Justice League, star Batman. We always talk about how Batman is bigger than any actor, so let's freaking prove it. Like, we should get Richard Citrone,
that might have
the guy
been,
who did the stunts.
I mean, that really might have been like part of Matt Reeves' reluctance to really dig in up until now. Up until where now it's the Snyder movies in particular were divisive. BVS was super divisive, and then there were people that just never could cope with the idea of like Ben Affleck as Batman. Oh my god! So it wouldn't surprise me at all if he wanted to do a younger version for a lot of reasons. One of which is I can recast, I can do something new, and I can have it be someone that no one freaking knows because it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. You can just have Batman.
Well, there are rumors that they want a familiar face.
Yeah,
but,
I've seen.
But I would say like in the post Justice League timeline, if you can't get Affleck, get his stunt guy Richard Citrone, who seems to be a very nice individual. We're friends on Facebook, oddly enough, and I thought I'd say what the hell, and I added him, and he accepted me. I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
But I don't know what to say to the guy, except that I want him to play Batman.
Yeah.
But they could totally do a thing where they like have the guy that played him for the stunts and the choreography play Batman, but leave him in constant shadow. Have him speak very little. Sort of like how Titans did in the season finale this year.
Yeah.
You show Batman as others see him. He pops up in Birds of Prey, in the Suicide Squad. Even in another Justice League movie, they could do that. Like, you could look at Grant Morrison's late 90s run on JLA as a pretty good example of using that character as more of a myth than a man.
Right.
Because, like, you would even have, like, Wally and Kyle were freaking scared of him, but fanboying over him simultaneously.
Right.
If you need him to say a line, have Bruce Greenwood or Kevin Conroy come in and do some lines with the modulator, But just keep the character in shadow. That way you keep Batman vague, still awesome. The fans can imagine him however they want, whatever their perfect little version is, and it's still accurate to most popular depictions. Yeah. I think that would be dope, honestly. Like, I think that would be, like, I wouldn't want to recast him right away as far as, like, post-Justice League, running around with Cavill and stuff.
Yeah, I could deal with that. I mean, the fact is I'd like, for continuity's sake and for my own peace of mind, and because I liked him, I'd like to have him back in present tense at some point.
Yeah, me too.
Me too. It's still a possibility. I don't know. For now, that's a duck.
Yeah, right. So who are you? Do you have any ideas of who you want Matt Reeves to cast?
I really don't. I haven't had.
I keep hearing Armie Hammer, and I got to say he does look like a young Affleck.
That's fine. I didn't have a problem with it. I haven't really. A few of the rumors I've seen flying around. The crazy part is, like, when I've been seeing them, part of me is thinking, like, yeah, I mean, it's a chiseled, dark-haired dude. Yeah, that's all you really have to mostly fit the dynamic. Like that's the outline. Yeah, we're fine. But I haven't really gotten excited or super disappointed about any of the rumors so far.
Yeah,
just
I've seen a
nothing's
lot
really
of people
stood out.
I've seen a lot of people online. There's been a resurgence. There was some guy, and I don't remember his name now. Some guy who's been in a bunch of schlocky B action movies, who was asked to audition before Affleck got the role way back, and he does this like conversation between Alfred and Bruce, and his audition tape is online now, and people are just like, "Oh my God, he's perfect. He should play Batman." I'm like looking at this thing, and I was just like, "My God, you guys, this guy is like Stephen Amell could like not even try and just yawn and outact this dude. This guy was terrible." I'm like, yeah, he's built and he's a dark-haired dude. You got it. That's it. Except he doesn't act for shit. Like, he's terrible. Like, this is why movie studios don't pay attention to the fans. Because they say, hey, this guy who was in an action movie, he's got dark hair and he's built. Look at this. He's a martial artist.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he reads like his next movie is going to be a porno.
That's rough. That's rough. See, I think the studios only pay attention when we completely object to something. Like when there's so much rabble that they think, well, okay, I'll take my foot out of that bear trap. Let's cut it off at the knee. Move on to the next thing. But when there's a 100K petition like make this guy so and so actor, but it makes sense on a human level where if something's a good enough idea, some part of you, if you didn't have the ideas, like, well, I can't use that though. I have to make this my own. What'll happen if we start using change.org casting? Industry will crumble, I say. It'll crumble.
All right, so Hollywood Reporter is saying that Matt Reeves' script is going to be 160 pages, or it is so far anyway. There's
That's a long
the basic
movie.
rule of thumb. Yeah, the basic rule of thumb says a page per minute.
Yeah.
Or a minute per page of screen time. So they're going to be cutting it down. Matt Reeves even said they're going to be cutting it down. He says there will be a rogues gallery. Right now it's called the Batman. He doesn't know if that's what it's going to be called forever. The casting process will begin shortly. And they're starting to put together their battle plan. And he's got to do another pass on the script and see if he can start developing some stuff.
For what?
I don't want to say I'm excited because I've only seen one Matt Reeves film, and it wasn't one of my favorites.
I'm
wasn't
excited.
a big fan of Cloverfield. It was okay.
For no other reason, I'm excited because this time, for once in the several years, it feels like we've been worrying about it. This feels like it's actually happening now.
It does. I'm excited for that. I'm excited because Matt Reeves is saying all the right things. Detective-driven story.
It all sounds great. Yeah. And
yeah, all of that sounds great.
I believe anything that's happening that's actually about the content of this story, I believe more than anything that detective thing is true. Because if everything we've talked about, that we've talked about on the show for years, he's always hit that point when he's in an interview. It's going to be a detective. This is the world's greatest detective. We're going to focus on that. Every time he has talked about it.
He's always said that. So I like where this guy's head's at. I don't know his style, honestly, because Cloverfield was hardly anyone's style. It was just
it was
J.J. Abrams.
Culty,
That's
though,
what it was.
It was a little bit of everything, and some people really adored the heck out of it. And I never saw any of the Planet of the Apes films, but man, a lot of people really loved them. They thought it was a great take on a property that already existed. Like for a lot of people, that was a good trust building exercise.
I need to check those out and see what's what.
Yeah,
I'm just not specifically excited about Matt Reeves and as far as his directing style is all I'm saying.
Yeah, but out of ignorance, we just don't know.
Out of ignorance. And if DC will stop airing something for one damn week,
we can get around to that.
Maybe I'll get around to it.
Yeah. I had somebody at work last week literally started to tell me about a show, and they're like, "Hey, have you seen so and so?" I said, "No." And they said, "Well, I think you'd like it. It's a show about." And I said, "Stop right there. Do you know how many capes there are on television right now? I don't have time. Tell me about it this summer. I might remember it and watch it then."
Yeah. Well, there's about to be less. Legion's going away.
Yeah, I know. But quick recap for me. Legion is maybe one of my favorite things on television overall at the moment. Top 3, easy. Top 10 all time, easy. And one more season. for them to wrap up the wildly adventurous story they're telling without going so far that it gets into like this weird redundancy pattern where you're like, okay, you can't get any crazier. 3 seasons for the show sounds freaking ideal.
Yeah, I mean, that's apparently what they were planning, from what I understand.
Oh, it's great. And if you know where the story is right now as far as the arc of that character, oh man, that sounds perfect. But
yeah, I couldn't imagine there being more than 1 season after that.
Yeah, I think they would just start trying to, chewing on their own tails kind of thing. This sounds so good. It sounds like it's going to go down as one of my favorite, like, oh man, this show's flawless, please watch it kind of things.
Yeah. It is the polar opposite of The Gifted. It's just...
I enjoy The Gifted, but it's because I like a lot of the characters. The story itself is, you watch it and you're like, oh yeah, that's what's going on. Okay.
Like my wife had it on, and I heard some of the dialogue and kind of saw some of the stuff that's going on, and I walked past the Marvel room and kind of dipped in and just put my hand on like an old Art Adams, Chris Claremont X-Men poster and went, I'm so sorry.
I don't think it's anywhere like that. You do get invested in that show. There's some fun character stuff they're doing. But again, that was my point before. Is like there's so many fucking capes, and I mean that metaphorically.
Oh yeah,
or figuratively. But yeah, there's so much to watch.
Mm-hmm. I'm actually afraid of when the merger between Fox and Marvel solidifies, and they're just doing like all MCU shows.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, X-Men, everything is in the MCU, and I'm like, I like the MCU. I don't have time for this.
Yeah.
I'm happy though, because like Matt over on his show was like, okay, so here's X, Y, and Z reasons why Runaways is not in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I went, oh, thank you, God.
It's super not, and it is. Yeah. That one of all the shows that we watch, that one's the one I consider a chore. I find it.
It wasn't that
hard.
bad. It was just like, oh, good, I can. Just like with Netflix, I'm like, I'm just going to hold off for a minute and let's see where all that shakes out with Disney Plus. I don't have time for this right now.
Yeah.
I get it. You're going to give me a thing I love and then you're going to cancel it. Whatever.
Yeah. I get it. I understand. Anyway.
All right, let's get back to some DC. Let's get to Aquaman.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, has proven that the DCEU is not dead.
Oh, God. By far. Yeah.
Affleck or no. Sorry, buddy. Love you.
Hey, he helped get it here.
Absolutely. Aquaman. Worldwide. $1.1 billion. It is the highest grossing DC movie of all time.
Mm-hmm.
It's past Iron Man domestically.
That translates to Dear Jesus money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, you did a little extra digging on some number things, didn't you? I don't know how to say these things because I'm not a math person, as I so eloquently explained last time.
Well, they're really rudimentary, but they would qualify as stats.
Oh, okay. I don't
again,
think I've heard anyone say that, but doctors.
It's really not hard to gather or compute. It's just it's very straightforward stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But adding in the 1.1 plus figure, it does bring you to a new place. And we speculated about this when we did the first run on the numbers. The first 6 movies. So for the DCEU, that's all of them. And for the MCU, that's all of them, including the Avengers, which was a high watermark, right? For honestly, that was, the Avengers wasn't just like top CBM or top Marvel movie and box. It's in the top overall, made all the money kind of movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
That thing went over well. And then initially we looked at budget, total box office, return on investment. So, and return on investment for anyone absolutely doesn't know, just how much money did you make versus what you spent. Very simple. Mm-hmm. Again, not crazy numbers we're running here. Budget for the MCU, $1 billion and then about $8 million. So 1008. Not actually that crazy for the first 6 movies. Not a ton of money. DCEU's budget, $1.26 billion. Actually, still not all that crazy, but they did spend a little more. I'm going to talk about inflation here in a second, so don't worry about that.
But as we did mention, some of that was due to previous iterations, like George Miller's Justice League Mortal, and Wolfgang Petersen's Batman, Superman, Batman vs Superman movie that never got off the ground.
Yeah, budgets, unfortunately, for the purposes of like how much did this really cost, include, aborted versions of movies. If you brought in a guy and gave him $20,000 to do a treatment on a movie that you never used, that goes into the budget. So, total box office, though, for the MCU's first 6 movies, $3.809 billion. Gangbusters. Return on investment of 378%. Made their money.
Absolutely.
DCEU's first 6 movies. Now with Aquaman's updated figures of 1.1. $4.866 billion. Return on investment of 386%.
Mm-hmm.
It's over $1 billion more in the first 6 movies than the MCU.
Yeah.
With its 51% average score on Rotten Tomatoes. I just want to point out, before I say this, that there's some inflation to adjust to. The DC franchise started in 2013 with Man of Steel. 2008, you get the first movie over in MCU. Now, it's a 5-year difference, and 5 years doesn't sound like much, but it amounts to something around the area of like 1.3, I think. So it's a decent percent in actual inflation. And I have not calculated these numbers with the inflation for every movie given today's current title. But I promise you this, it's not going to equal over $1 billion between 2008 and now. It's just not. Like, that's not going to make up that difference. It might make up the difference in the budgetary spending. It might actually make the MCU and the DCU's budget pretty close to neck and neck. Mm-hmm. But the amount that they made, no. So, Avengers that we all love, Avengers that we all adored. The bottom line is, after all the movies we have, after our beloved Avengers, DCU is a failed franchise. My ass.
Exactly.
That's the bottom line.
And look, anyone who wants to at us, I believe is the popular parlance. Anyone who wants to at us, look, we know that DCEU probably wouldn't have made these numbers if it wasn't for the MCU's influence, but by that same token, MCU probably wouldn't exist without, 78 Superman. Like, that pretty much created, between that and 89's Batman, that pretty much created the superhero movie genre.
Yeah, and then how far do you want to take this? I mean, do we want to go back to the late 1930s and who was making what and which company bought which and all that? It doesn't matter.
Oh, I'm on Twitter. They will take it there.
And if you want to take it there, then Superman's going to win. But that's not the point.
Yeah, Superman's always the one. Superman's the first.
It's A number 1. I mean, you can go Dr. Midnight or something.
In fact, there's like a good 30 years where you're just looking at like Fawcett and DC.
Yeah.
You're like, what the hell is a Marvel?
Yeah, I know.
There's a Captain America there, but that's timely.
It was like, if you take it back far enough, you can argue as long as you want. But there's 80 years of this stuff, man.
Can.
We can have all the conversations you want that are going to devolve into people blocking each other on Twitter. But when you're just looking at the movies,
Marvel versus DC isn't the point of this anyway.
Yeah, but the point of us even bringing up these figures was the same point we had to begin with. You cannot trust the divisiveness that you're being fed or the story that you're being fed about either of these franchises. Mm-hmm. The fans are telling a better story when you actually listen to them. Like, overall, on average, MCU makes more money, and that's because overall, on average, the general audience rating a little better. Yeah, they are not as divisive a set of films as DCEU. So it's polarizing, and that costs you money when it comes down to box office numbers. But part of the reason it costs you money is because you have these outlets talking about how it's divisive and how the numbers are low, and that's the same numbers they created, and it's a vortex of disappointment. That's all it is.
Yeah, but in between the Affleck news this week and the Kevin Smith news this week, which I'll get to later, I won't get deep into it because of reasons. It's just stupid in a lot of ways. Not saying Kevin Smith is stupid. He does exaggerate shit and apparently get it wrong. Sometimes. He's not 100% accurate.
No, I mean it was a take on the memories that he had of a thing, and
yeah, he didn't write it down and be like, I've got to report this, exactly.
No, he didn't carry a recorder in with him and sort that shit out on tape. No, man, like, human memories are flawed, and I think that's what happened here.
Absolutely.
No matter how good you think your memory is, I promise you I can prove you're wrong.
Probably.
It is invariably true of the human race.
But between those two things, I saw a lot of people, like stalwart DCEU fans, saying that the franchise is over. is dead. They're not going to go support anything else because Warner Brothers didn't do X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
Because Warner Brothers screwed up and didn't get Ben Affleck back, which we don't know what the situation was. We don't know what... Ben Affleck hasn't even said he's never coming back. He just said he's not doing this one.
No, and there's something... There's something in some of the stuff that Kevin Smith says later I'll talk about that reflects a little bit on the Ben Affleck stuff.
Yeah, okay. And, yeah, so... I'm sorry. Yeah, we're gonna lose some people. But what actually was funny is I don't know if you've seen this. Again, Flightcast Ray over on Fans Without Borders. He's been arguing with people over that. And have you seen him? Like, when people are like, "I'm never watching another DC movie again." He's like, "I understand. See you at Shazam."
Yeah.
That was like he's turned "see you" into Shazam into like a little catchphrase.
We have we damn near have a little like motto for me and you that's pretty much give them a minute. Like give it a second, man. All right. Like if you don't
we say one of those.
If you don't like the yeah, it changes. If you don't like the trailer, okay. All right. Well, do you like the property overall? If you liked where the company's going, go spend $15 and watch the movie and then judge it. Don't or the people the people this week on the Birds of Prey little teaser. Some 20 seconds of footage. Just, that's the worst. I'm never going to see this movie. It's ridiculous. Dude, it's 20 seconds worth of footage. 20 seconds that may not be in the movie. It's literally
it's definitely not going to be in the movie.
It didn't look like it was shot like something's going to be in the movie to me.
No, that was
literally.
Like character film tests or some shit. Like,
I mean, it looked like if you asked a trailer house to come shoot a couple scenes, or, hey, come shoot 20 seconds worth of video you're excited about. Okay. And they came in and did it. Mm-hmm. But that hot take mentality of this is my first reaction and I'm not going to do it. All right. The people who are at this point saying, well, I don't like what DCU's done. And there is a difference. If you've been watching all the movies so far, you haven't liked the take, you haven't liked the tone, you don't like the characters the way they're presented, you've watched all of them and you've decided, I don't like this version of it, and you're done with the DCU. All right. I can't help you there.
Yeah.
But the people that have decided, the WB screwed over this, or they messed up this one character, so I'm going to boycott the rest of the movies. I can't help you. I don't know how to deal with that.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's like just emotional, reactionary shit, where it's just people freaking out and saying like, "Oh, like I can't help myself. I want people to know how upset I am, and I want people to know that I'm not going to take this," or if it's just people who legitimately feel like, their 30 followers are going to help them make a real difference in course correcting an entire movie that doesn't need to be course corrected. The upper levels of Warner Brothers.
There's some of them.
I don't know what they're thinking.
You know what though?
But
I've started to hate the phrase "we all know." I've really started to just deeply hate that phrase because every time someone says it, it's got this gaslight feel to it. Like,
oh yeah,
we all know
absolutely.
the DCU was failing for years. We all know Snyder tanked the DC movies. No, we don't know that. We don't all know that. We all really don't know that.
We all know that if a woman rides a bicycle too fast, it'll disjoint her organs
and make her sterile. Sure, yeah, we all know that.
Yeah, that was a real thing, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know that.
Back in the day, women weren't allowed to ride bicycles. It was a whole thing.
Because it was a thing. We all know that if a woman starts acting too crazy, she's gone into hysterics, and it's because her uterus is wandering throughout her body.
Yeah.
Trying to find a place to light. Again, also a real thing. Check that one out. That's fine.
I know. But yeah, look, all I see when people are doing all this, like, were people who are completely reasonable that I have seen online who are completely reasonable, and all of a sudden, some kind of news like this comes out, and they're like, the DCEU is dead. I can't do this without Ben. I can't do this because we didn't get the Snyder thing that we wanted.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, kid. Pick up the scoop of ice cream, throw it in the trash, and put another scoop on your cone. What the hell, man?
And we're not saying, I'm with you completely. We're not saying Pollyanna. If you listen to any one of our reviews, you know damn well we're 70% on average, 70% happy about it, 30% picking at it. And that depends on the show. Some of them, it's the other way around.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I have no problem being honest. If you are, but I'm bummed about Ben Affleck.
Yeah. Also,
I'm bummed about Ben Affleck.
like we can, we're honest about how we feel about a thing, especially on the reviews. But then if somebody writes in and has anybody, if you contact us and have a take that we didn't consider, I promise you, we will reconsider.
You know, for that matter, I'm bummed about the Snyder thing. But you know what? From a business standpoint, yeah,
I get it.
Don't kill Jimmy Olsen. Don't freaking kill Nightwing. Don't make grim, dark movies that the general populace doesn't want to see. I want to see them because I understand that there's a multiverse and I can accept different versions of things. But Snyder wanted to have his Nolan films. That's what he wanted to do. He wanted to be the auteur director who came in and did his certain number of movies, and he thought that Warner Brothers was going to let him do that, and that's not what happened.
And they thought they were going to let him do it, but it wasn't what happened.
And I'm really sad that it didn't happen, but I get it.
I get how this went tits up. I do. I understand the logic and the mathematics of what went wrong. But I'm also
I wouldn't have done exactly.
I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to be Pollyannish. That's not what we're trying to promote here. No. I don't want to make excuses for things. I mean, it's one thing to do a little bit of headcanon here and there, but I'm also just... we're in an era where we're going to go see a Shazam film here in a few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to have some perspective about that. Like, I knew I was going to see a Batman film. I knew I was going to see a Superman film. I was excited to hear I was going to see a Wonder Woman film, because that hadn't happened before. Yeah. But when you told me there was going to be a DC universe, I'm like, okay, so Batman, Superman, and? Because we know that. That's the easy part. If you told me at some point, well, we're going to have a Suicide Squad, okay. Oh, by the way, we're going to pull up a Shazam film. Oh, shut your mouth. Shut your whore mouth. You must be lying. Like, there's no way I would have believed you.
Right.
These are times where we're not, these movies aren't being forced on us. We get to view this weird stuff that we sometimes don't like. It's crazy that we even have the chance. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. I wish it resonated with you. If you do, great. But it's crazy that we even have this shot. There's a Captain Marvel film and a Shazam film coming out at the same time. If I told you that was going to happen 15 years ago, you literally would have said, is that going to be on Cartoon Network? Cartoon Network was around. You would have been so crazy that you would have thought, like, is that going to be like some segment on Space Ghost or what? Like, what you talking about?
Some segment on Space Ghost.
You're like, oh, so they're going to do like an Aquaman episode where they're watching on TV and you see that, right? No, there's actually going to be these things.
But yeah, I'm excited for what's happening. I'm excited for everything that's coming. I look forward to seeing what is going to be coming. And yeah, I'm bummed that Snyder... I wouldn't have done everything Snyder did. I don't agree with him on everything.
Yeah.
Go back and watch our reviews. You will see I do not. But I would have liked to have seen his I like Zack Snyder. I'm a Zack Snyder fan.
Yeah.
Jason will probably, hopefully remember, years ago when we roomed together... Mm-hmm. We were watching the Ultimate Edition of Watchmen, and I actively said, dude, Zack Snyder needs to do Justice League.
Yeah. You were excited about how he could do a big group thing and really make it meaningful.
Yeah.
And his cinematography has always been just fucking out of this world.
This was like 2011. This is before Man of Steel was said to be a thing.
Yeah.
So.
It was a real thing. And it's still funny. Like, one of those, Watchmen was one of those things where, you kind of said, well, I've never seen that. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm going to strap you to a chair. And this is happening.
Yeah, I saw the theatrical version and enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, they there was a lot cut out. And you were like, no, dude, no, Ultimate Edition.
I've got this 3-hour version. Oh, okay.
But yeah, I still remember calling you and being like, Man of Steel, Zack Snyder, it's happening.
Yeah. It was exciting.
So yeah. And it's perfectly okay to be a huge fan of somebody and not agree with every choice they make in a story sense or even in a directing sense.
Yeah.
It's okay. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking about this for now. Aquaman 2.
We'll have plenty of time.
Deadline's reporting. Yeah. Deadline's reporting that they're trying to get James Wan back in the director's chair. Obviously, they're talking about doing Aquaman 2. There's no way they're not going to do an Aquaman 2.
It would be... What's the word? Derelict is maybe the word I want.
Derelict.
Yeah.
It would just be wholly negligent, completely ridiculous.
Wholly irresponsible. Yeah.
So this Shazam trailer, this Shazam teaser, because we haven't gotten the full and final trailer that they're going to be doing.
Mm-hmm. I had high hopes for
Shazam.
Bowl, but oh well.
Yeah.
Instead, I got a boring ass game.
That's what I hear.
Yeah, it was.
Of course, all of them would have been boring to me.
You heard correctly.
I'm not a game guy.
No, you're not. But
So,
very boring.
did you catch that the kids changed who are walking into the, what is it, is it the Rock of Eternity?
Yeah.
Okay, did you notice that we see Billy walking in, and then we cut to another kid walking in
No,
from behind?
I didn't catch that.
Oh, it's a different kid. It's a different kid. Go back and look.
No, I only got to watch the
I think
teaser on my phone, like on a break at work.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Savannah.
Oh, fun.
Like, I think it's Savannah walking in, and we see the 7 deadly sins on his left. Mm-hmm. Pride, greed, lust, envy, gluttony, wrath, and sloth. In the books, they're you know this, but you know I've been told that we don't explain things well. For people who don't know. Yeah, they're basically just demons.
Yeah.
It's like the 7 deadly sins inhabited by demons.
Yeah.
Or within demons that can inhabit different people.
Come on. You've all seen the movie Seven.
Yeah, except in demon form.
Right.
That's what's going on. Instead of just creepy-ass Kevin Spacey.
Right.
So, Billy running off of that roof and screaming Shazam, getting hit by the lightning and flying away might be my favorite shot in the DCEU so far. Maybe even my favorite shot in any comic book movie.
I completely agree. Dude, I was pulling people over. Like, that was another one. I watched it at work because as soon as I saw it popped up on a feed somewhere and I went, oh crap, and hit it and turned to basically the next person. Or I didn't care. I grabbed the next person. Watch this. I was just dragging people. Like, watch this shot. Just watch the first 15 seconds. Just trust me.
Actually, no, I was at your house when it first dropped, and I told you, I was like, "Holy shit, the Shazam thing dropped!" And we looked it up, and you kept rewinding it. You kept rewinding it to that spot where he jumps off the roof.
You're right.
Yeah, we experienced that one together.
Yeah, that was true. That was a bad day.
It was a bad day,
but I do remember that now. And then when I went to work, I actually was showing other people because I was still so excited about it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was good. The fun part was a couple people I showed that. I showed a couple people that. I really did probably show about a dozen people. And at least 2 of the people that I showed, just that one little shot went, okay, well, I got to go see that. I was like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I loved on April 5th, He's Not So Serious. I'd like to purchase some of your finest beer, please. Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. I heard a lot of people talking about this, and I didn't catch it the first couple of times. I just didn't think about it. But Savannah and Shazam fighting very, very much did look like Man of Steel. So I will echo that sentiment. Mm-hmm. Like, it looks like it's referencing that. Best part for last, real estate agent, a lair? Yes, if you have a location on a cliff, a castle-esque type thing, overlooking some water.
That was great.
Overlooking some water, splashing on rocks and stuff, then we'll take that.
Yeah, the little fist bump off, kind of off screen. Good stuff.
Oh, this movie's already charmed me. Mm-hmm. Just charmed me to death. Mm-hmm. Can't wait for it. Birds of Prey teaser trailer. You want to talk about that? This little teaser video that's not even a trailer?
I mean, I was about as neutral as I could possibly be.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't get super excited about anything, and I just there was nothing in there that struck me as negative. I just kind of thought, okay, well, that all looks fine. It was like I heard someone's preliminary report and was like, okay, well, that's about what I was hoping for, I guess. You have no real, you don't really have anything for me now. Get back to me later.
Oh, you had a preliminary report, huh?
Yeah.
See, I just saw the thing pop up and went, is that Harley? That's Harley!
Oh. Yeah. I did have the same reaction as far as like going through the feed and was that freaking Harley Quinn? Oh, this is real.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like I ended the 20 seconds and my first thought was, well, get back to me when you have more.
Yeah, I can understand that. I watched this thing. We see like quick clips of different people. We get Montoya drinking. Rosie Perez is Montoya drinking. Mm-hmm. We get like close-ups of the R-rated Cassandra Cain cast, like her arms in a cast. We get Black Canary holding Harley's bat. Black Canary holding a friggin' microphone, which syncs with versions of the character. I like the idea that Journey Smollett Bell is going to be a singer, Black Canary, because she actually is a singer in real life. And I've heard some hubbub, some people suggesting that hopefully they will do sort of like what DC Comics did and release EP, like an EP or something of this Harley Quinn singing. That would be really cool.
That might be. Yeah, that might be a lot of fun.
I loved seeing Harley with a martini. I loved just her general attitude, the way she was acting. Felt very on point. I thought Black Canary looked good, looked badass. Honestly, the long black coat on Huntress definitely gave me a bit of a CW back when it was the WB, Ashley Scott, Helena Wayne, Birds of Prey flashback. I was like, no.
I've watched about 4 minutes of that show and just kind of laughed at how camp it was and turned it off.
Yeah, it's camp.
And just thought, some other day.
I haven't seen it since it aired. I own it on DVD. I haven't seen it since it aired. I do remember really liking Harley Quinn on that show.
Okay, well, that's something to try for.
It was, I can't remember her real name. Sloane from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
No idea.
Yeah, she was pretty good. I wish I could remember her name. But anyway, I got a little bit of that, and I totally get, Brent on Fans Without Borders was saying this, and I, cheered in the car while I was listening to it, because I had the same reaction, about I totally got the feeling, those awful Dare to Defy commercials that CW puts out?
Yeah.
I got that feeling.
Yeah.
Dare to defy. Dare to defy.
I can see that.
Slow motion thing. But you know what?
Oh, the same one, it's another song they use, the "Why don't you just meet me in the middle?"
No, that's a Target commercial.
Oh, yeah, it's that too. But I've seen that.
That's a Target commercial.
No, I've seen that on the CW a few times as a one of the promos. And then I actually heard, I was in a store somewhere and heard that on the radio and looked over, and I actually asked the clerk, "Is that a real song?" "Oh, dude, that's a hit." Really?
Yeah.
That's a real thing?
What is it? Meghan Trainor? Is that right?
I don't know. I literally told the guy, I was like, "Dude, I thought that was just shit they play between between scenes in The Flash." And he kind of laughed. He was like, "No, man, that's a real thing. Man, I got to catch up on Arrow." I was like, "Oh, dude, first 6 seasons on Netflix should be fine." "Oh, that's good to know." I was like, okay.
Yeah. So, okay. I'm down with what they're doing. I love the music. It sounded very 80s. I understand it's from a 2009 German band. I did write
a lot of
down.
stuff
A
sounds
New Era
80s
by
these days.
By Moderat, whatever.
Okay.
I'll probably add that on Spotify because I liked it.
Fair enough.
Everybody looked dope. And I think this was a smart move. I liked seeing Zaz with his blonde hair. I liked seeing Ewan McGregor. I don't know if he's going to have the black mask proper, if he's just going to be Roman.
I don't either.
There's a lot of hubbub that this might be the first part of a trilogy.
I mean, it could be.
Maybe he'll be black mask proper by the time they get to supposedly Birds of Prey versus Gotham City Sirens, because that's what they're talking about. They're talking about, I've heard reports from reputable sources who have that it's going to be Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of one Harley Quinn, then Gotham City Sirens, and then finally Birds of Prey versus Gotham City Sirens. That's what they're looking at if Birds of Prey is popular or is a hit. And it will be because it's Harley freaking Quinn.
Right. And also the main antagonist in this movie is going to be McGregor, who's going to act the ever-living hell out of it. Looks pretty good. I liked his costume.
He does.
Looks flashy.
But it all just looks very 80s.
Yeah. But the 1 second we have with him, I kind of, I saw a freeze frame of that and thought, yeah, he looks predictably and wonderfully smug. I like that. That's gangsta smug. I like that. It's a guy who knows he's got people where he needs to have them.
Yeah, I think what they did here is they were playing around and they said, you know what, we're going to put this thing out because we're going to get out in front of all of these set pictures. And they already started to trickle in before they released this, and it's been a downpour ever since because now they're going to be filming outside. Now they're not going to be on a studio,
right?
And I think it's better to get out in front of that and say, look, this is what it looks like in motion with lighting,
right? Because
apparently that is a lesson the internet never remembers, is that, oh, hey, by the way, there's going to be cinematography and lighting and shit.
Have not learned the idea of
it's going to look like somebody's shitty iPhone.
No, that's completely lost on a lot of them.
So in that vein, I think it looks
Confusingly
fine.
lost
I
on
think
a
it
lot
looks
of
good. The look has grown on me. I've watched that trailer like 15, 20 times. Enjoyed it more every time.
Good.
They've had, pictures come out from like the costume designer Erin Bennock. She worked on what's that movie? A Star Is Born. It looks very much like her. She also worked on the Neon Demon. This reminds me a lot of Neon Demon. But yeah, I think it was smart to try to get out in front of some of this stuff that's coming out because just cat's out of the bag. We know what's shooting. Things are popping up.
Yeah.
And actually, I don't.
Set photos
This
you
is
have to
just
just
hyping me.
actively work against at this point. You are right about that.
Have you seen the thing about the exotic animals?
No, I got nothing. What?
There's a set picture of Harley in a pet shop called Murray's Exotic Animals. And everyone's freaking out. As soon as I saw it, I was like, holy shit, is it the hyenas?
yeah.
Is it Bud and Lou? Is it Bud and Lou?
I did see something about Bud and Lou. I did.
But yeah, cast members put out like their stunt doubles in freaking roller derby gear because there's that is just fantastic to me. Like that just sings of Harley Quinn. I've got a roller derby Harley Quinn like on my desk right above my head. So yeah. Anyway, I'm excited about this movie, even if I did have a quick acid flashback of early 2000s airing after Smallville Birds of Prey.
Fair enough.
All right, so let's jump over to Wonder Woman 1984. Patty is saying that she doesn't want to do another period piece, so the third Wonder Woman is probably going to be contemporary. If she's coming back, she's not set to come back.
Naturally.
Yeah, so I thought that was nice. She got a lot of flack though for saying someone asked her if she would want to do a Justice League sequel, and she says the Justice League movie. I find those movies to be extremely challenging. I think they're fantastic when they're well done, but taking on all of those characters at the same time in the timeline, I sort of hope that we don't do a Justice League movie for a little while. Because I think that each of those characters were really great, and I'm super excited to see each of their movies. I want to see Aquaman 2 and I want to see Flash, but you never know. I would never say never, but I think everybody should have a moment to shine right now. She got a lot of flack. Like people feeling like she kind of shit on Justice League when she was like, when they're done well. Well, yeah, I enjoyed what we got, but I expected a lot worse based on the reports.
Yeah.
And, but Justice League was not a great movie. It could have been.
Yeah, I mean, there were improvements that definitely could have been made on that movie. It was clearly not the best foot forward that the studio had to offer. I mean, that's the one thing that I think is objectively true. And if nothing else, I say because mustache.
Right.
Like, you can't tell me this was the thing they had planned because mustache. And I enjoyed the movie, man. I've watched it a few times, happily. I intend to watch it again and expect to be happy. You can't tell me this is the best thing they had planned. And I do agree with her though. Letting these characters have some room to breathe, actually finally getting out some solo films that we've been waiting on for like 3 or 4 years now, like The Flash. I kind of agree with her. Let the characters breathe a little bit, and then see what space that opens up, and maybe dig into it. That makes complete sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, looks like James Gunn is in talks to direct the Suicide Squad relaunch.
The single thing we hoped for. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm down. No controversy here.
Nope.
I'm down.
Done and done. Sign it.
The reports say there's going to be a mostly all new cast of characters and actors. Down with that. That's the Suicide Squad. That's what happens.
Yeah, it does not have to be those people.
They
Normally, they bring in a couple of legacy people.
Yeah.
To mentor or whatever, or just say, hey, here's the job. Don't veer or you're going to get killed, and good luck.
Right. And this, I'm going to echo the same thing. I've heard literally everyone I've heard who's talked about it. Keep Viola Davis. Keep Waller.
That's the one thing that does have to stay, though. It's her program.
Well, it doesn't have to. You can have a Lila Michaels.
I mean, you can, but when you think of Suicide Squad, you think Amanda Waller.
Yeah.
Very close word association.
Well, I mean, when you think of, S.H.I.E.L.D., you think of Nick Fury, but, sometimes they got that guy with the red hair.
That's
His name I can never remember.
I get it.
The guy with the beard, that I don't know.
But, all right, well, two things stand out. One, Viola Davis did a great job. They made an interesting character. She won me over when she shot her entire crew.
Oh, so brutal.
Oh, it was so brutal. It's so fucking good. It was such a character building scene.
No matter what you think of that movie, that scene makes the movie. If there is a movie to be had, that scene made it.
Oh, that scene was incredible. Also, I don't think we're ever going to get a Deadshot standalone. I just in my gut, I don't believe that's ever going to happen. So part of me says, I don't know how much you have to keep or lose or whatever, but Viola Davis and Will Smith, try to keep those two. Try to keep those two involved in this film.
A Deadshot movie, that's one wish that Will Smith won't grant.
No.
Get it? Because he's the genie in the live-action Aladdin.
And the Thing. Yeah. No, him and Oprah's Under Your Seat combined powers could not grant that.
You ain't never had a friend like him, indeed.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, I hate myself. I really hate myself sometimes.
I'm sad about us right now, but it's okay.
Anyway, so yeah, Hollywood Reporter says that Zack Snyder and Deborah Snyder are going to be serving as executive producers on this relaunch of the Suicide Squad. It's actually called The Suicide Squad so far. And Charles Roven and Peter Safran are going to be producers. I don't actually expect the Snyders to really have much of anything to do with it. I just think their name's going to be on it, if I'm being completely honest.
That's how it is sometimes with that title.
I think they're listed there because, they were listed there. It's not a reboot of the original Suicide Squad, it's a relaunch. So, but hey, maybe, if James Gunn is writing and directing, if he does in fact direct, as it's being reported, he most likely will. He does have a relationship with Zack Snyder. They are friends. So
I didn't know that, but it makes sense.
Yeah, I think he wrote. I think it was his. I think Dawn of the Dead. Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead. James wrote it.
Huh.
If I'm not mistaken, and I could be, but
no.
I'll look it up.
How are you typing? Go ahead.
I'll look it up like a bastard.
Hit it up.
Yeah, screenplay by James Gunn.
There you go.
By Zack Snyder. Yep.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
It makes sense either way, though. And
actually, you should check that one out for a nice little Ty Burrell moment. If you know Modern Family, might be kind of fun for you.
Yeah.
But
that
yeah.
would be good.
So,
yeah, that does not necessarily mean the Snyders are going to be actively involved in any capacity.
Yeah. No, I mean, they know each other, so he might get some advice or something from Zack. But you know, James is a big boy.
Producer credits are some of the strangest to interpret. Like they can mean literal, very little or very much. It's hard,
especially
to tell.
Executive producer credits.
Yeah, because that essentially means you were. In some cases, that just means you were attached to the film when somebody else grabbed it and has nothing to do with you now. But you were there at the moment before, and good luck and Godspeed. But my name will be the third one seen on that screen. Damn it.
See Tim Burton's name on Batman Forever.
Yeah.
Executive producer Tim Burton. No, the hell he wasn't. He was just like, yeah, whatever y'all want to do. I don't care.
He would have put in a credit that said, no, I was not. If someone had given him like 10 minutes in the editing room to sneak that in.
Yep. So it's also been reported that August 6th, 2021 is the expected theater date for The Suicide Squad.
That'll be a quick and fun summer there.
Now look, it's being reported though that before he settled on The Suicide Squad, Warner Brothers offered James Gunn a couple of different things. Either Suicide Squad, Super Pets, or a Man of Steel sequel, or a Superman movie, specifically. Seen a lot of hubbub, a lot of yeah about not Abdul Mateen, but a lot of people complaining, why would they give James Gunn a Superman movie? This just proves that they... No, think about it. Go back and look. This is what the report's saying. They're talking about a Superman sequel.
That was the good catch.
Don't be mad because the guy you didn't want decided not to do the thing. They are talking about a Superman sequel.
That was a good catch. What was on the table? Yeah, it's still active. It's still active.
We had Cavill come out. Like there were all these like do you know Revenge of the Fans?
Yeah.
Revenge of the Fans with what's his name? Mario Robles?
Robles? I don't know. Robles?
He was there. Revenge of the Fans published a report that said that part of what was, holding up Man of Steel 2, which I hope to God is called Man of Tomorrow.
Oh,
anyway.
Please.
Right?
Yeah.
The hang up on Man of Steel 2 is because Cavill is demanding all this shit. Suddenly he's Edward Norton. And he's demanding director and script approval. He wants a producer credit. He, wants all this shit. Collider actually said, you know what, we're going to nip this in the bud. They went straight to Cavill's team and said, hey, can you let us know, is this really happening? And they were like, nope, that is patently inaccurate. There's no truth to this. Like, they just out and out said, nope. So that's nice. Now, Henry Cavill posted a thing on, like, Instagram where he's, like, working out with his giant, like, wax statue. Or maybe it's not wax. I don't know what kind of damn statue it was, but it is a giant Superman statue.
Right.
It's him. It's his version of Superman.
Yeah.
And none of that is a coincidence. He knows exactly what he's doing. The man is still firmly Superman. They're just looking to see who would be the best. I think they're honestly just looking to see who would be the best person to do it. And they don't know yet. Cavill's a busy dude after, Mission Impossible? And you can tell I don't follow that.
Yeah. He's got The Witcher coming up.
Yeah, The Witcher. He's a busy guy.
He does.
So they're not going to say, like, hey, by the way, I'm doing the Superman suit. Because everyone's going to be like, when? I don't know. Well, we don't have a director. We don't have a script. They're going to get that shit in place before they start saying, like, hey, guess who's back in the saddle?
Yeah.
All right, so this bit with Kevin Smith and what he said on his show, Fat Man Beyond. He talks about Justice League. He talks about going over to Europe. He talks to some of the people who worked on both versions of Justice League, both the Snyder and the Joss Whedon version, which he had a lot of glee over them calling it Justice League. Like, spend more time on Twitter, Kevin. But
yeah,
so I've been seeing that shit for months, over a year. Anyway, I like Kevin Smith. I think he got a little overzealous with his retelling of some of this stuff, because he was saying that, like, one of the things he saw was Alfred, is talking to the guy and says, "Let's hope you're not too late." And they're like, "Oh, that was Green Lantern." I think the crew is mixing it up a little bit, because in the deleted scene on the Justice League Blu-ray, we can see that it's Henry Cavill without a mustache.
Yeah.
So, but they did shoot a Green Lantern sequence with green lights that was outside of the lake house. It was supposed to be Kilowog and Tomar Ree. So yeah, I think there were some things, and he does lay out a lot of what he said was right. Like Jim Lee came and did beat boards for a 3-part Justice League trilogy, and Stephen Colbert.
God, that sounds amazing by itself. Oh,
absolutely. Stephen Colbert over at Screen Rant. He's one of the good ones. He actually did an article, What Smith Got Right and Wrong. And I'm not going to go over it all, but either way, when you look at all the stuff Smith did get right, you're going to be sad.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
You're going to be sad that we didn't get it. The third Justice League movie would have been the nightmare sequence, or the nightmare, or a version of the nightmare scene that we got in BVS, except supposedly Batman wouldn't have been there because Batman kills himself, sacrifices himself in the second Justice League, taking out Darkseid, or trying to take out Darkseid.
Right. Final Crisis style.
Right. And we know from, Snyder's admissions that, he just put out that shirt, the Suicide Awareness shirt that had, like, the little cryptographs and stuff on it.
Yeah.
We know from that, and people guessing and him confirming, Batman would have sacrificed himself for Lois, and Lois and Clark would have had a child and named him Bruce.
Kingdom
There
Come
was
style.
like Snyder had a plan. It was a whole big thing.
Yeah, it was about 8 hours worth of screen, probably.
But there was also stuff in there that like clearly the crew remembered it and was like, oh, we were gonna get this, and then like Snyder was like, well, I has already said if you follow Snyder on Vero or whatever, Snyder's like, I wasn't gonna include that. Like I decided, so even if we get a Snyder cut for Justice League, certain things that we expect to be in there are not going to be in there because Snyder had said, I don't want that. I don't want to do that after all. And that's the way filmmaking goes.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of human memory, I think, involved. Some 3 years almost from photography.
And this is not just hearsay. This is like hearsay.
Yeah.
Like, this is like the crew members remembering, like, I remember Snyder did this. I think we're going to do this. And, oh, yeah, man.
Bit of a grapevine effect.
We shot this. Yeah, dude, totally. We shot this, and like, that doesn't mean it was going to be in the movie. It doesn't mean Snyder. I mean, some movies are made in the editing bay.
Yeah.
Suicide Squad, for instance. I don't think that any of what Kevin Smith said was an absolute recounting of everything we missed or everything we were definitely going to get. Like I said, I do like Kevin Smith. I do like his show. I liked it a lot more when it was like the interviews. I haven't kept up with it when it was just like everything geeky and we were just calling it Batman things.
Yeah, no, I hadn't.
But
I kind of trail off a little bit too.
Well, I try to keep myself free of some spoilers, and they'll just come right out and tell you who died on Game of Thrones, and I'm like, I might go back and watch it. Damn it!
One day, who knows?
But yeah,
I did kind of get. I don't know. I was a little unimpressed with one thing that was in that version. And like I said, it's probably a lot true, but not definitely not all true. And even then, there's going to be some steps removed where the information got a little mixed up. And then beyond that, there's just going to be stuff that even if it was exactly the way they remember it, Snyder maybe shot thinking maybe I'll try it, maybe I won't. We'll see. We'll see when we get in post. So there's a lot of like we don't know exactly what version. And put it also through this though, the Kevin Smith filter of he knows what he's doing. He knows the ins and outs of making a movie, man. I mean, he could see through some of that. So it's probably it's a lot better information than we would have gotten from anybody else maybe. But he really does know that industry, and he really does know these characters well enough. He probably gave us not a bad glimpse.
No, I mean, if you look at the Screen Rant article that Colbert wrote, Kevin Smith doesn't get a lot of stuff wrong. Like he's pretty close.
Yeah. I do think
there is some stuff that's kind of misleading, but I don't think it's on purpose.
But something that if they did have it right, I think I really would have been disappointed with is they were going to go a little bit injustice on the third leg of this movie. Oh man, I don't think I would have cared about that at all. I don't think
that's fair. Like I don't think the injustice thing is fair. I think anybody like, oh man, alternate weird future storyline. That's injustice. That's not injustice. Like
no, not weird
not
future storyline
like, at all.
They were kind of implying that it was like Superman decides to take things into his own into his own hands and decide what's right and wrong for people, which would fit though. I mean, it's not crazy to think that's where he might have been going because he's been toying with the theme of Superman having moral control that humans didn't have over him. Like that's the whole point of the Senate procedures that were happening in BVS. Yeah, it's a theme he'd been playing with for a while. If he developed it into that, it wouldn't have surprised me. But I think I would have been a little bored by it. If nothing else, because I've seen the Injustice games storyline and seen probably 10 hours of that, and I thought it was great, and I've done it.
Well, I mean, Snyder has said that Injustice was an inspiration at the very least. Yeah. But it also feels a lot like Brave New Metropolis. It feels more like Brave New Metropolis, honestly, to me, which was way before Injustice. Where I remember it from Superman the Animated Series. If it predates that from some comic book or something, I apologize for not knowing that. I know someone out there is out there making, tallying how wrong I am. But
I'm with you. I don't remember it having the comic book precedent either.
Yeah, but Brave New Metropolis, Lois gets pulled into a parallel dimension where Lois had died and Superman didn't save her and decided to join forces with Lex Luthor and completely rule the world. And it was just real 1984, savage Superman's in charge of everything. He's a dictator.
Right.
You know, street urchins or the resistance kind of thing.
Right.
So it felt a lot like that. I get why everyone says it injustice, but it didn't feel quite like injustice to me. But Snyder says injustice, so whatever. I would have loved to have seen it. Like I said,
There was a lot of stuff with Dark Side. There were hints of that Green Lantern stuff. There was a lot in there that I really thought, oh man, we missed a lot. And there was just a couple things where I thought, I wouldn't have maybe cared for that much.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm not a fan of the auteur director's predilection for killing Batman or making it seem like he's dead and not being Batman anymore. Like, I don't get that. Like, what the hell is that about? At least let him be an old man with Terry McGinnis running around as Batman. Come on.
Yeah. Now, all right, that gets to something though. On the heels of the Batfleck news, it did make me wonder if that was his plan. You know, if that was his plan the entire time, Affleck, when he was talking about the role, was only signed up for a small run at that point. Mm-hmm. If you're having that initial conversation with him, you're telling him, I'm planning on doing this, and this, and this with your character. And Snyder did have all this mapped out. I mean, there literally are conversations about people saying, no, I've seen the map. I've seen the wires and the yarn and the pins and the...
Yeah.
If that's what he had planned out, Affleck kind of already has done his, from his viewpoint, he's already kind of done his bit. The rest of basically almost the second half, or at least the majority of it, kind of changed. It's no longer what he signed up for.
Yeah, and
it's gotten to the point where it's almost at the length that he signed up for to begin with. So he's kind of, for him, maybe he doesn't feel like he's really skipping out on that much. And
the thing that he signed up for is over, and he was still doing it after that, where it was like, okay, well, I guess we're not going to do the 5-part story, but I'm going to do this. They're going to let me direct my own Batman movie, so that's pretty dope. And then that falls through. Yeah. He can't get that done. And I still think that he was still planning on holding on. Toby Emmerich said he wants to do a Flashpoint movie. I think he was probably like, you know what, that could be really dope. I could, be Batman for like 2 scenes, and then, have, what's his face? Whose name I can't remember. Negan from Walking Dead come in and play my dad again, and he's like that Batman. And then they didn't do that either. And Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I thought Thomas Hayden Church, and I knew that wasn't right.
But it's got 3 names, and they sound strong. So.
Exactly. I thought that guy, and then I was like, nope. And then I was like...
Ralph Waldo Emerson. No, that can't be right either.
No, I didn't think of him, but I did think of the guy that played MacGyver. Richard Dean Anderson.
Sure, okay.
I was like, Richard Dean Anderson? No, that's not him. No. Anyway, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I don't have confirmation on that. I'm just saying there were a few different plans that looked like they were going to happen. And I think Ben was just like, you know what? No, we're not going to keep doing this. I'm gone. Maybe. But he might come back for some reason. Like, I think he might. I mean, he's still doing stuff for Warner's and whatnot, so he might pop up and just be like, hey, you know what? I like this script. Let's do this. I will play Batman in this thing.
Yeah. Hell, I've heard reports that he was still contractually on board for a couple, and I don't know. I really don't know.
I don't know what that. I don't know. I don't know what that looks like. He might be still going through a rough time. Want to do something else.
Somebody said it has plans for another accountant he wants to work out. Oh no.
His contract might be one of those one for you, one for me type of thing. So
maybe. Yeah.
He might have an independent under his belt that he needs to get to, and then be able to come back to the role. Who knows? I don't know.
Or that he's going to fight for before he comes back for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll put a link to the Colbert, however you say that name. I always want to call him Colbert. I know that's not right. I'll put a link to his article as well as
Colbert, but
yeah. I'll put a link to the Kevin Smith podcast. It's about the 34-minute mark, and also the Screen Rant article. This isn't DC news, but it kind of is, because I think it solidifies that Zack Snyder's done with Warner Brothers for the, really. Snyder's doing a zombie movie called Army of the Dead for Netflix. Netflix bought it off of Warner Brothers. Zack seems pretty happy. He says, this is, there are no handcuffs on me at all with this one.
Telling little line.
Telling little line, yeah. And he and his wife are going to be making this thing. And it's going to be set during a zombie outbreak in Las Vegas, and see a man who brings together a group of mercenaries to venture into the quarantine zone to pull off the greatest heist ever attempted.
Okay.
Snyder came up with the story. Joby Harold is penning. Apparently it's going to have a significant budget, whatever that means, and start filming this summer.
I don't know what that means for Netflix.
I really don't know what that means for Netflix. That's exactly what I was getting at. I don't know. But Zack did say, I thought this was... They are. Zack said, I thought this was a good palate cleanser.
Searle philosophy about the Chinese box, and it goes in, and you don't know if you understand it on the other side. I guess that makes sense, but you don't know what the hell actually went in and came out. I don't know.
All right, it's okay, Jason. It's okay.
Confusing.
Zack said he thought this is going to be a good palate cleanser to really dig in with both hands and make something fun and epic and crazy and bonkers in the best possible way. He says, I love to honor canon and the works of art, but this is the opportunity to find a purely joyful way to express myself through a genre. It will be the most kick-ass, self-aware, but not a wink to the camera way, balls-to-the-wall zombie freak show that anyone has ever seen. No one's ever let me completely loose like this. I am so excited about this.
That does sound fun.
Like, you have no idea how
I saw that he was getting a zombie film, and my first thought was like, oh, that's gonna be grotesque. In all the best ways.
Yeah. Hey, yes, give me this. Let's do this. All right, so there were a bunch of rumblings about a Batman Beyond animated movie that Warner Brothers was cooking up to try to answer to Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse. Mm-hmm. Will Friedle even got excited and said he wanted to play Terry again. I would absolutely love to see that. Absolutely. I'm on board for that. Mm-hmm. Except Humberto Gonzalez said he has reached out to everyone, and everyone has said that is not true. We are not working on an animated Batman Beyond movie. He says, to be extra sure, it was checked and shot down at Warner Animation Group on feature side, DC Films, and WB Animation on TV side. No one is touching this thing.
God.
I would love that.
I would. I don't know what analytics they're privy to that seem so adverse to common sense, but yeah, it does seem like something that would work. Then again, we are two people who are like 10 movies behind on the animated universe. And most of them we've thought, well, that looks fantastic, and still haven't watched them.
That's true. That's right.
It's just time.
But if they put out a Batman Beyond movie that looked anything like Into the Spider-Verse, I'd be there in a heartbeat. I would stop in the middle of this podcast right now and go see it.
If there was a tweet right now, hey, by the way, this got released. Jason, wrap this up, man. Can you tie a bow in this? I gotta go.
Yeah, so I love Batman Beyond. Batman Beyond Return of the Joker is right up there with Mask of the Phantasm for me. It's just
the masterpieces.
This is fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah, I absolutely go see that thing. And it's one of the reasons I keep mentioning, maybe Ben will come back and play old Bruce Wayne for a Batman Beyond movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, on to DCTV. We got a little bit of DCTV stuff here. At the TCA, the Critics Association, we got some footage of Batman revealed. Mm-hmm. And this Chris E. Hayner character on Twitter just said, we just saw the first footage of Batman in the series finale, along with full-on Penguin and Riddler. Is it David in the suit in the series finales? In the series finale, yes and no. They said he's done some stuff in the suit. The face under the cowl is him, and we'll hear his Batman growl. But the Batman is built on someone over 6 feet tall. That sounds exactly like what I thought it would.
Yeah, they're just retrofitting him for the part.
That sounds pretty great. That sounds fine.
I mean, they couldn't have been giving the guy steroids for the last few years.
No,
he can only grow so long.
Yeah, he can only grow so long.
So long.
Tall?
So high. So tall. It's also long if you stretch him out.
I guess so.
It's not really Batman need to be stretched out that way, though.
Over to the Arrowverse shows. Every DCCW show has been renewed.
All of them.
Every one of them.
All of them.
The CW president was talking about Crisis on Infinite Earths. He said it's going to be the biggest, most complicated crossover yet. It better be.
It's what he said last time.
It better be. I mean, well, he hasn't been wrong.
He hasn't. He really hasn't. But that is what he said last time.
Yeah. So, yeah.
What's your first thought, by the way, when
you...
All right. You probably had a couple thoughts when you read that the CW, all of them have been renewed. First one was probably, oy vey.
Yeah, there was an oof. There was an oof. Like, there was a forced exhale.
Yeah, because it's a lot. It's not like I don't enjoy these shows when I actually get to watch them, but the bulk of them sitting in my queue of things to do every week is cumbersome, man. It's a lot. And again, going back to what we said earlier, it's a gift that we have this opportunity, but at the same time, there's only so much time in a day, and it does become like a thing you have to plan around. And
it's one of those things where, like, I'm weak, so I will watch the thing that I want to watch and let the others back up. So it'll be like, I'm caught up on Arrow. I've got 4 episodes of Supergirl to watch.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it'll be like, Supergirl's been pretty good, but I have 14 Legends of Tomorrow episodes.
Yeah.
It'll be like one of those types of situations.
Speaking of Legends, the second thought I had among all of them was, oh, hell, I didn't think they were going to get Legends. We get more Matt Ryan. Fantastic.
Maybe. We don't know if he's coming back.
We don't. I don't know what his contract says. But I do know that they've really leaned into him this year, and he's worked well for the show, and I think he's kept the ratings pretty solid. So
maybe so.
I don't see a reason not to bring him back.
Just give me more of that sweet, sweet Nora Dark, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was creepy, Dave. I'm sorry.
Oh.
But no, I've enjoyed the show. I've even enjoyed it with.
It's been really good this season. I've really enjoyed Legends this season.
Yeah, it's been a pretty good season for them.
Mm-hmm. For them, you still got to qualify it.
I do have to qualify it a little bit.
I know.
Yeah.
It's still not. It's not Legion, man. It's not.
Look, hey,
at
Arrow had a fantastic first half of the season. Mm-hmm. They came back on a real dud. I felt like I was like, oh, that episode sucked ass. Like, oh man, are they gonna do this? Are they gonna like dip? And then the 150th came out, and I was like, holy shit, that was like the best episode of Arrow.
I was neutral again about the one last week. I watched it and I kind of thought, well, all right, all that happened. Okay, yeah, but same thing. This last episode, I'm gonna say just preliminarily probably top 3, and I don't know what the other 2 are.
Yeah.
Like, I'd have to go back and look for them.
Adrian Chase getting Oliver to admit that he enjoyed killing those people.
Yeah, okay. That was solid.
Whatever that one is. That's in my top 3 or 4, yeah. Oh, the Dragon episode, like the whole backstory for Richard.
The Dragon?
Those are my top 3, I think.
Okay, that's not a bad top 3.
If I had a top 5, we're going to throw in the first one with Barry, and I don't know what else.
You're not wrong about that. I feel like the rest of the top 5 somehow involves Anatoly. I just don't know which one.
I love Anatoly, but I'm not terribly interested in the Bratva, so it's like one of those things where I'm like, I love Anatoly, but I don't care about anything that he's around.
Yeah. If it was any one of them, it's probably that episode where he's they're going back on his initiation rites, like the episode where he's someone has to get to that bell. And the secret is you convince everyone else to get their ass beat while you go get the bell, and then everybody else does.
That was pretty dope.
That was good.
Yeah. So, good stuff. Good stuff all around there. And to be clear, when I say last week's Arrow sucked, I don't mean that it was like the worst thing that's ever happened. I just mean that I didn't like it. It just bored me.
Didn't pique your interest.
No, it just didn't. Yeah. But, that happens from time to time. Can't help it. Oh. Well, I don't even know what the hell we're talking about anymore.
That happens too?
I have not seen this episode yet, but I saw the article and I went, I have to know what they're talking about. Uh-huh. Apparently, on The Flash, very recently, they name-dropped a Dark Knight's Metal name.
What, really? Where?
There's a scene, this is just according to the article I've read, there's a scene where Nora is in the Flash Museum, and they say that after Barry Allen disappeared in the Crisis, Cicada returned and continued his killing spree. And they said his death toll was compared to the likes of other killers from the Flash's history, like Zoom and Red Death.
Oh, I did hear that.
And Red Death is the version of Bruce Wayne who figured out how to connect himself to the Speed Force and wreak some havoc. And that's from the Dark Knight's Metal line.
It was.
There's a recommendation.
God,
There's a recommendation, Randy.
I forgot about that. No, in that version, it's literally like Bruce Wayne finds a way to take over the Flash's body. So the entire time he's in there, like Barry Allen's still trying to find a way out. It's rough, and Red Death is accurate. I mean, all of the characters in the Metal series are just it's bad.
Yeah, the Dark Knights were Batmen from the Dark Multiverse who had pretty much murdered their Justice Leaguers and got their powers from them.
Yeah.
So, yeah. They're all evil Bruce Wayne.
It was like Red Death, Murder Machine, Dawnbreaker. Oh, he was neat. Mm-hmm. It was a version of Bruce Wayne that was still a kid, and he apparently in this version, the Ring was looking for an owner at the exact same time that Bruce Wayne's parents were shot. Mm-hmm. So the Ring is looking for an owner, and they see this kid, and this kid apparently in this version is like fearlessly hateful and vengeful, but it senses the fearlessness and goes to Bruce Wayne. And then there's supposed to be some little stopgap with the Ring where you're not allowed to use it for purely homicidal reasons. Mm-hmm. And this young Bruce Wayne is so fearless and apparently so willful that he overrides the Ring's capacity. He just overrides all of its little safety nets and just kills this guy. Yeah, just kills this guy and becomes the Dawnbreaker. And he even gives him like some little oath that's the opposite of the Green Lantern oath and stuff like that. Like he just goes around finding sources of light and shutting everything down. Like just world after world, finding everything that resembles light and hope and killing it. It's like the versions of these characters are fucking off the wall, man. like bizarrely, Metal's a good name for it.
Mm-hmm. So, unfortunately, Jeremy Jordan won't be back on Supergirl until season 5, they're saying.
Oh, I was hoping for at least some run-ins here.
Yeah, they said we love Jeremy, we love Wynn. It looked like, in terms of our storytelling, something we'd like to do at the beginning of next season as opposed to this season. We have a lot of stories that coincided with his availability at the end of the play. We don't want to short shrift Jeremy or the characters, so we think it's something that's better served in season 5. I think that's fair. I'm good with Brainy.
Yeah.
I do miss Wynn.
I like it for scheduling reasons. Like, if you're not going to have enough time, then
yeah,
let's do a decent arc next time. And series regular? Yeah, man can hope.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. So
the Batwoman pilot begins filming in March, supposedly. Mm-hmm. Their Deadline's reporting that they've cast people. They've cast Megan Tandy as, they're not saying a romantic partner. And she's been on Teen Wolf. I don't know this thing. I don't know her.
No.
They've got Cameron Johnson. He was on Luke Cage on Netflix, and he's going to be playing Luke Fox. That makes me happy. It's the son of Lucius Fox. In the comics, that guy is Batwing. Mm-hmm. So I've got a Batwing and a Batwoman on the same shelf right now, and I'm going to be moving them a little closer to each other. And I will squeal with delight as I do so.
Right.
The character description says he's a staunch loyalist of Wayne and Batman. He understands the need for Gotham to get a new protector in the absence of Batman. It should be noted that Fox eventually becomes the second Batwing in the DC Comics mythos, certainly something Greg Berlanti and company would plan. Yeah, so, obviously, everyone who worked, give it 3 seasons, he'll be Batwing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If not,
it'll be its own spinoff.
God, yes.
I see. That's what I'm talking. I thought about sending you one of my little fake news articles about the CW, saying like they renewed everything. They did this, and then I was gonna just basically bring up a bunch of ridiculous characters, and these have been greenlit, and these series got renewed, and I got about 4 seconds into thinking about it, and that, and regarding the rest of the news, and I thought about a couple other things too. As this week's just absurd anyway. Mm-hmm. I can't do truth adjacent. Screw that. Just Leave it. I'm out this week. You got me beat. You got me beat, reality. I can't outdo you.
And we've also got You star Nicole Kane playing Mary Hamilton, Kane's stepsister, Batwoman's stepsister. Character is a polar opposite, apparently, and has compassion for Gotham's undeserved communities, proving she has more in common with Kate than she thinks. So at the TCA, CW President Pedowitz seemed to imply that Batwoman was going to get picked up. He says the CW schedulers will see where everything fits and then decide how many episodes they need to allocate for each show. He says, we're not sure we'll air all 6 DC shows at the same time.
I'm sure they won't.
Well, I'm just, him saying all 6 means Batwoman is going to be a show.
I know. I'm just saying I'm sure they won't because they've been creeping into the summer for a while, and they're about to really plant their flag in that, I think.
Oh, yeah, they have to. Streaming, man. Streaming.
Yeah.
You gotta start sticking that dick in the summertime, man.
Yeah. I mean,
into the
they
hot
tweeted,
summer
what
sun.
was it, like June 18th or something last year where we did the Supergirl finale? It was deep into June, and man, I don't think that's stopping. I think they're going to start spreading their wings a little bit and really saying, yeah, can we just do year-round programming? And really, what's stopping them? Because let's face it,
Nothing.
CW's demographic skews deeply into people that are out of school for the summer.
Yeah.
There's time. They're off. I was 15 years old. I wasn't doing shit on Sunday night in the summer. I'd gladly watch these shows.
I'm going to have to mount a television in the shower.
Just get you a waterproof case for the phone. Prop it up.
Over to Titans.
I'll get you a Bluetooth speaker to prop up on the fiberglass.
It's going to be real fun. Titans Season 2, we have an update from IATSE 873, the trade union for technical workers in the film and television industry. And they're saying that Titans Season 2 is going to start filming March 20th in Toronto until September 9th. There was a casting description on a Facebook page for Rochester Finger Lakes Film Commission, which calls for a deaf or hard of hearing actor to appear on the show's second season. The description doesn't mention the name, but
you know where that's going.
Jericho.
You know where that's going.
Yeah. Looking for deaf actors. I'm the casting associate on Season 2 of the DC superheroes Titans, and we recently released the breakdown, the below breakdown. Because of the context of the role, we would really like to look for actors who are deaf or hard of hearing and are fluent in ASL. If you know of any or former students who, any current or former students who might fit the below description, please send them my way. Male, 21 to 24, mixed Latino or mixed Asian. As a young boy, Max was a kind-hearted soul who never measured up to the expectations of his domineering military father. Bullied by his peers, he retreated even further inward. He's a misfit who's always longed for acceptance and love, but never found it, always suffering betrayal by those he dared to believe in most. As a result, he's grown into a young man who now longs to inflict pain on all those who have caused him pain. 7 out of 13 series regular. Please also submit actors who are deaf or hard of hearing, and note any actors who are fluent in ASL. That just sounds like Joe, man. It sounds like Jericho.
Yeah.
And hashtag show is saying that their sources confirmed that Rose Wilson, also known as the Ravager, Deathstroke's daughter, not just the son, but the daughter, are going to be joining the cast. We've already heard Deathstroke's going to be in this next season, so I guess it's just a whole family affair with the Wilsons. Can we get Wade from the alternate reality? Little Deadpool?
Yeah. Why not?
So, hey, it looks like, based on the description and based on some of the stuff they're saying, she will wind up, just like in the comics, being a friend to the Titans. She's going to maybe even be joining the Titans. Which would mean, I guess, that Jericho would be maybe on the opposite side, or maybe not. Maybe he would join the Titans with his sister. He did in the comics. Or he joined the Titans. I don't remember him being there with his sister at the same time. But I'm not up on it as well as I should be.
I don't
want to
remember
lie.
that specifically being the case.
I read chunks in the 80s. I went back and read some stuff in the old days. from reprints and stuff from the first Teen Titans stuff with Kid Flash and shit.
All right, it's been a minute, but I think Jericho kind of I think there was just some throwdown, and he decided to join them. I don't know if he was ever quite on Deathstroke's side.
Yeah, I remember him specifically from...
I remember the reason that he's
the new Teen Titans.
Mute is because Deathstroke makes a bad calculation during a hostage situation. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I don't know where they're going. I don't know where they're going with that.
Well, as I said before, if DC will just stop airing a damn thing, I'll go back and figure it out.
Actually, read something.
What else? Yeah. Which, by the way, DC Universe, the streaming service, they just doubled their free comics list.
Good God. Well, they had to, because Comixology decided to pick up everything.
Oh, well, they made a deal with Comixology. It's not like they're...
Yeah, but just on sheer amount, that was going to be a little bit of a quality war. Not so much a sheer arms race, but a quality war.
I mean, I really think DC Universe, the thing that is the selling point are the original shows. But yeah, I would love to read more on DC Universe, absolutely.
I agree, but I've also heard a lot of griping about, well, they just don't have the comics I want, blah, blah, blah. I think, like, to some extent, people think that the DC Universe should just be their like, backup of all the great comics, all the graphic, like, they should just be able to pop up and read Batman Hush because it's there. I don't disagree. I really don't. I don't see what's stopping them. I don't know if they think the sales are what's stopping them or not, because for me, largely, like, people who want stuff in print, especially readers of comics, want something in their hands or don't. Like, there are people you're going to pick up and gain momentum with because you've attached this new medium that they can experience it through. And then there are people that, even if I read it on DC Universe, I would still think, well, I want a copy of that.
Yeah.
If I read it and really liked it, or even passively liked it, would just think, well, I'm going to go ahead and at least get on Amazon and grab me a copy of that.
I mean, yeah. Anyway, so the Age of Ultron composer, Brian Tyler, he also did 2005's Constantine. He did Iron Man 3, Thor the Dark World. I don't remember a damn thing he's done as far as the music goes, but he's doing Swamp Thing.
I don't remember any of the melodies, but I definitely don't. That's not a bad resume.
No, it's not a bad resume. I just don't remember. It didn't stick with me.
I just don't have a hook that I can remember anything.
Yeah. Did you see this Justice League versus the Fatal Five trailer?
I did. Looked delightful. Yet another reason where I watched it and thought, God, we've got to catch up on that, on the animated stuff.
Oh, well, we can just watch this one. This one looks like it's in the Justice League Unlimited line. We don't have to watch anything else. This thing looks fantastic. A little Starboy action. Got, Kevin Conroy, Susan Eisenberg coming back as Wonder Woman, George Newbern as Superman. I gotta admit, I'm gonna miss Phil Lamar. I'm sad that he's not back as Jon Stewart. I am, but it'll be nice to see Jessica Cruz introduced into that universe. I guess it's that universe. I guess
maybe.
I don't think we have confirmation necessarily, but excited about that. New Batman Adventures has been added to DC Universe in HD, the follow-up to Batman the Animated Series.
Right.
And the Batman, I'm excited because that's going to finally be on DC Universe. Maybe I'll get to catch up on that. I'll probably start watching that, honestly.
Right.
Because I've always wanted to go back and watch it all.
You have.
And yeah, I'm down for all that. Sadly, last bit of news I think I'm going to talk about before we get to listener feedback. George Perez announced his retirement from comics.
Oh, I saw that.
And George Perez was an artist and writer. Worked on Teen Titans, Avengers, Wonder Woman. Oh, just great list of things that he's worked on over the years. I have 2 of his posters right here in the Dave Cave. And, considering all the artists I like, that's a big compliment.
Yeah.
Crisis on Infinite Earths, man. Just George Perezing it up. Teen Titans. Like, the dude has done a lot of fantastic stuff over the years. And he's getting to a point where he can't really do all the work he has been doing. It's been getting worse and worse. He says, he's been having a lot of health issues. And he's also ending his commission requests. And, if he has enough lead time, he might pick up a professional job at some point. But, I'm sad George Perez is going away.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
He does say, luckily with his royalties, he makes enough off of royalties that he can live comfortably in retirement. But I'm sad for there not to be any more George Perez stuff.
Yeah, I get it. Every time I've run across his name on a book, I thought, well, at least I'm gonna like that.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, let's get over to some listener feedback. Travis Hines over on Facebook said, just finished the Young Justice review and couldn't have enjoyed it any more. Great job, as usual, touching on what Jason talked about in terms of new characters being introduced in the locker room scene with Vic. 2 of his teammates are bullying a kid named Cisco. If not the back half of Season 3, maybe we see him in Season 4. I did not notice this at all.
Nope. Slipped by me. Good catch.
It is a great catch. I am excited to see Vibe.
Yep.
If that's what happens. I would assume.
Given the
he's
show,
young.
I fully expect it.
He's young. He has an appreciation for justice.
Yep.
I can see this happening.
Yeah, I got no reason not to think that somebody wrote that, man. Somebody wrote that and performed it and said that name. Nothing ad lib about it.
Uh-huh.
And
It's
it's a tightly written show.
Mm-hmm. And I'm glad earlier you mentioned give it a minute or give it a second, whichever one we're using today.
Yeah.
Because that ties directly in to our voicemail, our first voicemail of the episode from Nathan Wobbly Boots 85, which we are going to play right now.
Hey Dave, hey Jason, it's Nathan Wobbly Boots 85. Jason, I just wanted to kind of touch on you said you hate Granny Goodness. And I get that you don't like all the iterations, and when you saw her in Young Justice, your hatred's still there. And I would just say, let's wait to see what they do, because you also said in the beginning of the episode that you were very impressed that they took Sportsmaster and turned him into a very formidable character. And let's not forget, in Season 2, he went toe-to-toe with Deathstroke and walked away from it. And they also did the same thing with Guardian. I didn't know who Guardian was until the show started. And in Season 2, when they made Mal Duncan Guardian, I gave a shit about him. Let's go with the same with Apache Chief. Ty Longshadow is the shit, and the way they made her growing powers, I thought it was brilliant. So with Granny Goodness, I would just say, let's wait until they put her full apocalyptic powers on display, and you may have a new respect for the character. I don't know, guys. Keep up the good work. Keep some DC on your screen. Bye.
Nathan, you wonderful man, you.
Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right. Give it a second, man. You know what?
Yeah.
Give it a whole minute.
You tell my co-host.
Yeah.
Just give it a minute, Jason.
True.
Maybe this granny will bring you some goodness.
It might. It might. Have you ever hated something so deeply that you want that relationship to be different?
What do you mean exactly?
I don't know. Like about every year or so, I eat at least a couple bites of a raw tomato to see if my tastes have changed. Because I really fucking hate them raw. Just raw. And in any form raw. But I want my relationship to tomatoes to be different. Because I see how much people enjoy them. And I wish I experienced a different thing. And to some extent I understand that. Well, I mean, I really do. Like, I used to not like bananas, and now I like bananas. I used to not like chicken salad, I like chicken. Like, your tastes grow and change and morph, and maybe with Granny Goodness, maybe that's going to be
maybe
like that tomato that I bite into and go, yeah, I get it. But for now, it's still like I've tried cherry, and I've tried beefsteak, and I've tried Roma, and I've tried whatever, and I still don't care.
I mean, I don't want to misrepresent myself. It's not that I don't know, cream myself at the sight of a Granny Goodness. I kind of do now because I know it's going to piss you off.
Yeah, no, yeah. I think I've brought you some enjoyment.
I've gotten more enjoyment out of Granny Goodness from you hating her.
Yeah, I think when you see her show up, you think, oh, fun. He's hating this. I don't blame you. I get it. I did the same thing when they were doing when Edward was facing off with the mirror last week. I thought,
yep.
Oh, Dave's so mad right now.
Yeah, that was a really good episode of Gotham, though.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so, but yeah,
Mirror's aside.
But yeah, I do tend to enjoy Granny Goodness more, knowing how much you hate her.
Mm-hmm. I get it. It's fine.
But I also enjoy seeing the different takes on Granny Goodness, because it always feels like everyone has a completely different take. They're just always trying to make that character make sense in their own head. And it's just it's always such a different interpretation. It just feels like one of those characters that creators are just like, what the hell was Kirby thinking? And me, like, my favorite version, it seems to be the one that was closest to Kirby. I like the Ed Asner, Bruce Timm version of the character the most. That brings me joy. It's like they don't try to explain it. They don't try to make it like, oh, she's just an old Fury or just a blah, blah, blah. No, she's got the weird giant anime head and she just does her thing. Like, that's
no backstory. She's just like some kind of like Catholic school nun caricature kind of situation.
Uh-huh.
I really do. I think I said this last time too. I think a lot of people see that character and think, no, I've got a good take. And every time I think, no, you didn't.
I'd like you know what? I thought you would actually like the Smallville take where she was running the orphanage.
That wasn't bad. That really was. I also like their Godfrey. They had a lot of good takes on the New God characters.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't hate what I'm seeing right now in Young Justice. I'm just so dubious after all my time with her.
Yeah. The one thing about the Young Justice version of Granny Goodness that I'm not digging is she doesn't seem insidious enough. She doesn't seem sinister enough.
Well, she wouldn't.
There should be like, but I feel like she should feel so gumdrop sweet that there's got to be something evil there. You know what I mean? Like creepily nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they're doing that. But you know, whatever. Everybody's got a take on Granny Goodness.
Yeah.
Can't hate on them for it.
No.
I think the Bruce Timm Superman animated series version is my favorite.
I don't think I
also just think it's great. I just love Ed Asner doing it too.
Yeah, Ed Asner doing it was a good call, but I don't think I'm like qualified to weigh in on a good or a favorite take. I just don't think I have that right.
Fair enough. I'm not sure you do. It would be like if you popped up and said, "Hey, I could recommend a good Michael Chiklis movie," because you hate Michael Chiklis.
I don't anymore. He won me over.
He won you over. I'm still waiting on Brian Cox to win me over.
It really would be like me handing you a tomato and be like, "No, dude, these are the best. They're so ripe." I don't fucking know. I don't.
Or me handing you asparagus. No, try these.
Yeah. I mean, like, literally, when I was a chef, the way I would pick tomatoes was I would calibrate myself. I'd have someone who really loved tomatoes. I'd hand them several and see which ones they liked, and then I would taste it and be like, okay, well, that tastes like crap to me, but that's the taste they were looking for. And then I would just calibrate myself, and when I tasted that again, I'd be like, okay, I guess that's a ripe tomato.
Right.
It was so convoluted.
That's so weird to me. But I get it.
But I made a mighty sauce.
Yeah, I mean. All right. So, Nathan, thank you for calling in. I hope all of that rambling was what you were hoping
Somehow
for.
got around to... We can't be expected to not chase squirrels, man. Sorry.
And we have a voicemail from our buddy Jordan Valdez, or Bat Jordan Valdez, as he, I think, prefers to be called, maybe. I'm not sure.
It goes back and forth. I think he forgets sometimes, keeps it some others. Who knows?
Anyway, here's his Bat-tastic voicemail.
What's up, DC on Screen? This is Bat Jordan Valdez with one S, and Bat Jordan Valdez with one S wants to talk about the first half of Young Justice Season 3. I just listened to y'all's review of it. First of all, I guess I should mention it, which is probably pretty obvious at this point. I love Young Justice's take on Forager. I find him adorably hilarious. Like, so yeah, that, which I was just parodying, of course, but the whole Fred Bug with 2 G's thing, that had me cracking up so much. I love their take on Forager. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. So I guess I'm in disagreement there. But next thing I wanted to talk about was getting Bruce Greenwood's Batman back. He is my second favorite Batman voice actor, only behind Rino Romano. I love him. I loved him in Young Justice originally. I loved him in Batman Under the Red Hood, and I loved him in my favorite animated film of all time, Batman Gotham by Gaslight. Love hearing more of him here. Immediately, we get another epic Batman moment at Justice League meeting. We got the one back in the Thanksgiving episode in season 1, Agendas, the now super iconic moment where Batman tells Wonder Woman, basically explains to her why he trained Dick as Robin. And it's a super powerful moment. But then here, in Young Justice season 3, we get the moment with him staging, I don't know what you want to call it, a coup maybe is not the right word, but from the Justice League. So I love that. I also loved when he went to Santa Prisca with sort of a classic Outsiders lineup, of course, with Katana and Black Lightning. Loved seeing that with Bane, and you had Lady Shiva there, and wow. I'm sorry, it wasn't Black Lightning. It was Metamorpho in that episode. Of course, Black Lightning, another classic Outsiders character who plays a big part in this season so far, though, which I'm loving. But yeah, that episode, it was a classic Outsiders lineup of Batman, Katana, and Metamorpho. Anyway, so I love that. I also love the episode Triptych, which was you got a lot of Bat family stuff in there, because you got Spoiler, and then you got Cassandra Cain making her animated debut in that episode, which I loved. And then you get a scene in the Batcave in that episode. So I love that episode so much. I also am totally with Dave on how Battastic the moment is where Vandal Savage and one of his daughters. That moment still has my jaw on the floor. Wow, that was a mind-blowing moment with Vandal Savage. So I totally love that. I love all of the stuff with the metahuman trafficking so far. I think it's super fascinating. And I was just watching the latest episode of DC Daily shortly before I was recording this, and they give us a sneak peek of the second half of the season, and it does look like we're going to get some answers to the Aqualad situation soon, the Aquaman situation. So I'm super pumped about that. Batcat forever, from the first kiss to the last. I will talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.
I'm super glad that you are liking this season of Young Justice, Jordan. Bat Jordan. May I call you Bat?
Mm-hmm. Bat Jam.
I liked Voyager. I don't think we completely disagree about it. I like Forager. Did I say Voyager? Forager.
You said Forager. Yeah.
Okay. Forager.
I agree with him. I really agree with him about Forager, though.
I had emotions, positive emotions towards the guy. He just annoyed me.
But, all right, let's be honest. You can say that about a lot of friends.
I absolutely can say that about a lot of friends.
That's a thing humans experience about each other. Hey, I really like the guy, but good Lord, this bugs me. Pun intended.
Yeah. Just like it really annoys me that you say that your name is Jason Goss with 2 S's. That's
right.
Like, I get
all
it,
the time,
Jason.
Constantly. Must have said it 521 of the 520-something episodes we've done right now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Every one.
Yeah. It's a tagline. People have written in. We have iTunes reviews saying, I can't stand this guy saying this anymore. Uh-huh. I can't do it anymore. I'm out. Out with 2 T's.
Right. Out with 2 T's. That happened with 2 P's.
Yeah.
I did enjoy seeing the Outsiders lineup. I felt like it was a backdoor pilot.
Yeah, and it was good enough that I wouldn't have minded it. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I think we mostly agree. Vandal Savage was the shit.
Oh, it's a great scene. Great scene. Triptych again. I mean, he called out some great moments in the run so far this season, and yeah, couldn't agree more.
Yep. Did you watch the sneak peek? I didn't put it in the show notes or send it to you. I really dropped the ball on it. Actually, I decided I wasn't going to talk about it, and then Jordan brought it up, and I was like, okay.
No, I didn't see a sneak peek.
I don't think there was a lot to unpack there, but we did get a few shots of Aqualad, or previous Aqualad, now Aquaman. Uh-huh. So hopefully we will find out what happened to Arthur, to Artie.
Yeah. Mr. Curry, as we all popularly know him.
Mr. Curry, if you're nasty.
Right. From before?
Remember before when I said the thing with my name?
Yeah.
When I referenced the Janet Jackson song.
Oh, God.
All right, well, that's all I have.
That unraveled quickly.
We were chasing squirrels, and then the squirrel died.
Yeah. And then we stood over it and pontificated for an hour and a half.
I peed a little bit.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like a great spot to leave it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Until next time, keep some DC on your screen. Did I say scream? Some DC on your scream?
Scream some DC on your screener.
Keep some DC on your screen with an N.
2 N's.
And we'll see you at Shazam?
We'll see you at Shazam. With 2 M's. The second one stands for the sin of migraine, which we'll all experience when we get to Twitter afterwards.
Did you ever listen to the English rap group called The Streets?
You'd lost me at English rap.
I understand, but give them a shot. They're pretty funny, and not
doubt
always
you,
funny.
But I
Not
already
always
knew
funny.
that it hadn't happened when you got to English rap.
Right. They have a song called "Dry Your Eyes, Mate," and that's what I think of whenever I see these people talking about the DCEU is dead and oh, we didn't get our way. Dry your eyes, mate. Anyway, bye. Our opening narration was from Dan Jurgens' The History of the DC Universe, Part 3 of 10, as featured in DC 52, Week 4. It was performed by me, David C. Robertson. Intro music by Jason Goss and Michael Shackelford. Michael's band, Future Elevators, could be found on Spotify or future-elevators.com. Our introduction was performed by Effie Ophelders of the fantastic podcast Stealing the Remote, which lives on SoundCloud. It can also be found on iTunes and Stitcher. We are proudly in partnership with TV Time, the TV show calendar and social media site that lets you keep track of what you're watching, what your friends are watching, and where you all left off. DC On Screen is a maladjusted production. Visit maladjusted.tv for more from me and Jason, including sketch comedy, an improvised web series, vlogs, parodies, and more.
Are you